It's interesting. You mentioned a couple times that you guys have middle and upper management.
Hmm.
I mean, obviously, I'm guessing there's quite a few folks there with six presses. When did you invest in actual management? Because it seems like there's definitely a leap of faith almost into doing that, or whether trying to promote internally or just free up your day.
It's not as much of a conscious decision or even like a moment in time where like a switch flipped. Our company was built off of like, when we started, it was we were hiring our friends. Then it was, then you kind of, the people who were there longest started getting promoted, and, people cycle in and out over the years, right? But I remember one time a long-term friend and client of ours said, like, you guys are just like, everything has to go through you guys. Like, there's no like management. I remember this was like, I don't know, 12 years ago or something. And I never forgot that he said that. And it kind of got me thinking. So it was more of like delegating more stuff, but also the busier we got, these positions just kind of naturally formed. Like, you needed somebody who was running point, instead of Alex scheduling jobs. Like, he just started like saying, hey, can you do this? And some guy just started doing it. And then next thing you know, that person became the shop manager. Was it the best person? Obviously not. But, just because you're good at something does not a manager make, So
Right.
Over time, I think you learn as seats change or people change in these seats, and you kind of learn what's better. And looking back now, it's easy for me to talk about it. But I listen to these podcasts, man, and I hear people, and they're like, I just don't know when to pull the trigger. And it all seems so easy when you're 16 years in. And you've lived
Totally,
through it all.
100%. When do you think
And-
you would have, if you looked back? Was it a revenue mark? Was it a people size thing?
I think it's about your ability to organize. Like, we're always,
But like
we've been described.
you can't organize forever, like with more and more people, and that's why I always try to figure out.
I think
what
it's your
you
like
think-
projection or ability to like your practical projection of incoming sales potential determines like the best use of your time. So like if you're I don't know, hypothetically you're an owner operator who is like the press person, okay? That's different. When we started this company, Alex and I would, we had these like orange caps, manual presses, and like little like dryers and stuff. But we would do stuff, and we would print sometimes or all the time, and it was different. Or he'd be up all night and sleeping on air mattresses. Like, it was that whole world. But then we weren't primarily that. We always had somebody there from the beginning who kind of was the lead on the floor with that kind of stuff. Not a manager, but the person we leaned on. So. But you have those people, and we were very sales-oriented. I was more process, procedure. Alex was more account management and bringing in business. So for us, it was more of like, we always had somebody who we leaned on for that stuff because it was just our dynamic. But we were very heavily involved in sales, and we always are. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, when it comes time and we're like doing Oprah's arena tour right before COVID, like Alex and I are on those calls. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be like that because at a certain level, you need to have us involved.
Yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, we're 100% although in the same industry, very separate businesses. Oh, I think about Printavo sometimes in some of the departments that we've grown, and I think for us, it depended on two things, right? Getting started, for sure. You just don't know when, and it's hard to actually afford like a true manager with 10 years of experience or something that can help make decisions, that has good emotional IQ, that all of that stuff. But I start to think around 2 to 3 people per department. It would be nice to have a lead, and maybe that third person has manager potential or is a manager, but also a contributor at the same time. And then over time that they can switch to be a full manager, and trying to replicate that in every different area.
That, by the way, like that thought, like whether it applies to everyone's business or not, the idea is that you're considering these people and their potential in your day-to-day life with them and work, and that and like considering what people can and cannot be, or can we try, are they interested in that? Because some people, I don't remember which one I was listening to, I think you had a video out that was about like hiring, or I don't know, something, and it was like talking about putting people who want to be managers, or what comes after, or maybe it was like what comes after being a press operator, because like that's like the top in the screen printing side, like you're a craftsman, you're making all this money or whatever. Well, they want to be a shop manager, and then they go, then they figure out, they're like, I don't want to do this, just put me behind a press, I don't want to talk to anybody anymore, or whatever, and I think some people want stuff that they don't want because it seems like what comes next. But we don't have a rule of thumb, man, for this stuff. Like, but luckily for us, like these have become evolved business models.
Right.
E-commerce is a business model. The e-commerce administration is a business of its own. Sales touches that; it touches production. So, luckily, we have a purchasing department. I have 3 people in it. 2 of them are sourcing stuff, and 1 buys blank shirts, and then they kind of help each other out.